So I've been dreaming for the past 5 years on the ultimate playhouse for the kids. Because it can't be another place just to have tea. It has to be a place that you can defend like a fort. So it has to have secret entrances, trapdoors, something worthy of a boy to protect. But it also has to be a playhouse that Lucy and Nora will enjoy. And what fort is noteworthy unless it has a zip line? I mean, it has to have a zip line. So I built a silo attached to the barn that's 14 feet tall, which is a perfect launching platform. So I figured we start low as the kids are young, and then as they get older, it just keeps getting higher and higher until it's the ultimate thrill ride in the neighborhood. So I designed the zip line and put it up over a weekend, and I engineered it wrong. It was supposed to deflect 5 feet, and it didn't. It drove me nuts. Every night I was just thinking about, why doesn't this deflect? So when you end the ride, you're 5 feet over the ground instead of on the ground. So not very safe for kids. So I put the ladder up, crawled up in the tree, corrected majority of it, and somehow, as I was trying to adjust the tensioning in the zip line, I'm guessing the pin holding the zip line to the rigging in the tree fell out. And then as I was holding on to the zip line, it shot out of my hand and went so fast that it just twisted me off or pulled me off. I have no memory of the fall, but I'm guessing that's how I ended on the ground.
I, at that point, was sitting right here in this room. I think I was just right at this window, and I heard a loud thud right outside, and followed by the sound of Darin just moaning in pain. So I ran outside and discovered him sprawled on the ground, and I just remember saying to him, "Honey, do I need to get you into the car and take you to the ER, or do I need to call an ambulance?" And he had enough of his mental faculties at that point to say, "Call 911. So I ran inside. Kids were there. Didn't want them to get unnecessarily scared, so I got my phone and I said, "You guys, I have to call 911. Daddy fell, he got hurt, but we're going to trust God with your daddy." And so I called 911, and just within minutes, I think before I'd even gotten off the phone with the operator, the paramedics were outside tending to them. And of course, our daughter Lucy is really curious and likes to be involved in everything. She came out and she saw him lying on the floor, and the paramedics taking care of him, cutting his clothes off, and she immediately knew it was serious, and she immediately started crying and said, "Daddy is really big hurt, and now he can't go to work, and now we won't have money to buy food." And my heart sunk, and I was able to tell her, God's going to take care of us. And that was such a poignant moment for me, because she had no idea how God's people were going to provide for us and provide food amongst many other things that we needed to get through the journey that started when he fell off that ladder. And I don't remember quite how long it was, but finally the attending doctor in the trauma unit came out and told me he has fractured vertebrae and he has a spinal cord injury. And then they explained that he had feeling in his legs, but he couldn't move his legs. And all of the composure that I had maintained up to that point quickly dissolved, and that's when I was really able to just let it sink in a little bit what was going on. And then the big question was looming, well, is he going to be able to walk again? I think that's what everybody wanted to know. And somewhere in the midst of all of this, while Darin was in the hospital, I realized, oh my goodness, our kids don't know how like possibly permanent this injury is going to be, and the kids couldn't see him while he was in the intensive care unit. So I remember one night I was putting them to bed, and I showed them a picture of their daddy in the hospital bed, and they of course want to know when he would come home. I had to tell them, only God knows when Daddy's going to come home from the hospital. Nobody knows, and we just have to trust God. And then I said, and I do need to tell you that when Daddy does come home, he's probably not going to be walking. And I didn't tell them that he would never walk again because we didn't know, and we were hopeful that he would, but I did tell them that he probably wouldn't when he got home. And another question that Lucy asked that was really kind of a big moment for us as a family. She said, Mommy, why did God choose for Daddy to get hurt and break his back? And I just love how at the age of 7, she used that language, and that she knew that God is strong enough, God is big enough, that he could have prevented it, but he chose to allow it. And that just framing the question in that way, why did God choose Darin for this? And the night that she asked that question, it was the day before Easter, and so my thought was just really on the suffering of Jesus, and not only his suffering but his resurrection, and that his suffering was temporary. And it just was a powerful moment for me to realize that we are in Christ, and that not only is there a promise that he'll take care of us here on earth, but there's a promise and a hope for our eternity, and for us to be raised back to life just like Jesus was raised back to life. And so all of a sudden I had an answer to the question that everyone was posing. Everyone was asking, was wondering, asking, is he going to walk again? And in that moment when I was talking to Lucy about why God chose us, I knew that he would walk again, but we just didn't know if he was going to walk before heaven or walk once he was raised back to life, just like Christ. So the answer was always yes, he was going to walk again. Just didn't know when.
So when we first got back from the hospital, my needs were significant, and there were things that Erika had to do that no wife should have to do for their husband. At least not until they're 80. Not for a 39-year-old male. And she has defined better or for worse. But her faithfulness and commitment to me just was such an encouragement, but at the same time created anxiety on how are we going to do life this way? How is she going to care for 3 kids and me? She can't wipe everyone's butt in our family. So day-to-day life in the hospital was really hard. Without the support of so many coming to show their support and to encourage me, I don't know how I would make it through those 40 days. There are times where I didn't know what was going on with my body. Doctors couldn't give me really any indication of what to expect. And I'm looking at the future that's just totally shattered by this injury, of knowing, will I walk? Will I be able to hold my kids again? How will I do physical play? How will we go camping? How are the kids going to learn how to ride their bikes? Who's going to maintain the cars? Who's going to repair the house? How are things going to get done? Who's going to support my wife? With all of the tasks that I helped with prior to the injury. So all of these things were just flooding my mind. So if I didn't have the support that I've received, if there wasn't a flood of letters and cards and prayers and flowers and balloons and meals and childcare and yard work and maintenance on the house and financial support. Just the constant generosity of people serving us and encouraging us. I don't have the faith to rely completely on my relationship with Christ to get through this trial. It's the support of all of these people making sacrifices for me. Sacrifices that I'm undeserving and unworthy of, but yet somehow God has stirred in them to make that sacrifice for my benefit. And it is a humbling position to be in, where you are desperately dependent on them responding to God as He stirs them up to make sacrifices for me and our family. Without their support, without receiving the support, I wouldn't have recovered.
I think we can say, God, continue in our story, continue to do whatever it takes for our own hearts, and to stay focused on God and on the gospel, and for whatever message He wants us to give to